No more cutting laps through Northbridge.
Do we cut a lap or chuck a lap?
Yeah.
Discuss. We're going to make James Street a car-free zone on Friday and Saturday nights. The 4-week trial starting this month is being promoted as a possible game changer.
It's going to activate the space on a Friday and Saturday night, make Northbridge just that little bit more family friendly.
Reckon it'll work?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We've been here before. We tried it 22 years ago when Minister Papalia would have been dancing at Rise nightclub to this. Barry Matthews was Police Commissioner back then. Turning streets into pedestrian malls didn't work. It just gave people more space to fight. And without the worry of being hit by a car, they could really concentrate on their MMA techniques. And we looked at it again 17 years ago when Paps was at Geisha Bar and dancing to this. Carlo Callahan was Police Commissioner back then. He said closing the streets would change the whole atmosphere of the place. And it didn't work then either.
Yeah, but times have changed.
Making Northbridge a car-free zone is probably worth another crack, if only because the cops on the beat this summer are going to be too young to drive. Walpole's desperate to make good on a government promise to recruit an extra 950 police officers by 2024. They've already downgraded physical entrance requirements.
Can't quite seem to stand up under my own power anymore.
And made it easier to become a detective.
And I'll find you.
No, you won't.
Now they're trying to recruit kids.
Perhaps we can be of assistance, Inspector.
First intake of children as young as 16 will be in March. They'll get a 3-week cadet induction course and a 12-month contract. They're billing it as a try-before-you-buy opportunity, before you're sent to the front.
Well, there are worse places than Northbridge.
Russia has just started bombing Ukraine's capital. Isn't it a pity that it took an invasion for us to realise we've been mispronouncing Kyiv all these years?
Yeah.
It's the first time Putin has launched strikes on the capital. Missiles have reportedly hit a university and a kids' playground. Putin says it's a reaction to the bombing of a bridge linking Russia to Crimea, which he described as a terrorist attack. Locals say the strikes appear to be targeting civilians during Monday morning's commute.
Completely barbaric.
Barbarity is the MO of the man Putin's just put in charge of the Ukraine operation. That's General Sergei Surovikin, who just needs a cat called Bigglesworth, and he could stand in for Dr. Evil.
We've got a lot of work to do.
Sergei, who goes by the professional wrestling-style nickname General Armageddon, first gained notoriety in 1991 when he drove a tank over people protesting against a failed KGB coup in Moscow. He honed his ability to act unconventionally and cruelly 10 years later in Chechnya, and again in Syria in 2016. Can you imagine how unconventional and cruel you have to be for Syrians and Chechens to say that's a bit too much?
Well, Surovikin clearly doesn't care about collateral damage.
Or how much money he spends to complete the mission in Ukraine. The missiles he's firing aren't cheap, and Russia needs to sell a lot of gas to Europe to pay for them. Vladimir Zelensky's supporters in the West are reluctant to buy energy from Moscow, but they've got a problem.
Winter is coming.
The world is now facing two choices. A lot of Ukrainians die from Russian missiles bought with gas money, or a lot of Germans die from cold because they've got no energy to heat their homes when the temperature goes below zero in a month or so and stays there until March.
Things are going to get frosty.
Here's the ridiculous thing with this. You can't dial gas plants up and down that easily. So when Europe starts to shiver, Russia is venting its natural gas system to keep pressures where they should be. One plant has been wasting $10 million worth of gas every day since August 27.
Wow.
But the Kremlin doesn't care because by throttling supply, they've kept the price of all fossil fuels sky high. What they've lost on volume, they've made up in margin.
Cutting laps is expensive.
Pretty sure it's chucking. I'm Ben Harvey. For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.